of badges or a clip, a binder clip. Hey everybody, we're in our van.
Yeah.
Whether we want to be or not. The van broke down Friday actually while we were at class. Is that gonna? That works.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
So you go to class and I stay home to work, and
we actually had some people show up to the class, which was really nice. Like 2 brand new students. But then I came back out after everything was said and done, and the van would not start. And then yesterday there was flash flooding, so we had to leave the van behind the building, like where we're at right now.
I feel like 36 pairs of earrings or something.
I don't know, you made a bunch of
From
earrings.
start to finish.
So hey everybody.
Yeah.
We broke down.
Yeah.
Like 2 days ago actually. But so fortunately,
I'm almost done making these earrings. I'm on the last 4 and I get a phone call. And she's like, the van won't start. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I hate this.
So she ended up walking halfway home and I walked halfway here.
And we got ice cream at Brahms because comfort food.
Yeah, you know, ice cream makes everything better.
Yeah, it does.
And then...
Because we had called one of our friends because we had hoped, Friday evening, we had hoped that maybe it was just the battery. Because we need a new battery for in our van.
I don't think we need a new battery.
I thought...
We really don't.
I thought somebody said something about needing a battery because it might not start in the winter. Remember?
No, that was the ignition.
Oh, the ignition?
Yes, that's why I think it's the ignition.
Crap. How much is an ignition?
I don't know, probably a lot.
What's an ignition?
But anyway, we had a friend, we were going to try to get to jump us just in case, hey, maybe that was it. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
then
didn't get off until like
his
9:30.
car didn't start. Like, he was jumping us off. And then I was like, oh my God, what if it's contagious? And then Randy's like, that's not how this works. And I was like, it's the future. There could be nanobots. Then, and it's like, touch really... I don't know. That's
All
not
of them
how
are
it works.
Decepticons.
Yeah. Our car's a Decepticon.
No.
I knew it.
So that was Friday night. And then Saturday...
The floods, which if anybody is in the area, and I hope you guys are doing okay and that
as
you
we're
didn't get
leaving
flooded.
the van here on the side of the road, Friday night.
Lightning and thunder.
Yeah. And Vaughn's like, oh, and now it's going to start raining. Tee hee hee. Well, it rains.
Well, at least it's
all
couldn't get
night.
any worse. Fucking rain all night.
So we wake up and it's like, man, it is still raining.
And so we go down and check the basement,
which is now at about 6 inches of water.
Which is excellent because at 7 inches, the furnace and the water heater start flooding. So we caught it just in time, and
we started pumping water out. Like, we were debating, do we pump it outside the house?
Or do we pump it down the bathtub?
And really, it's coming in from outside the house.
Yeah, like all the points where the hose would be exiting at is kind of an entry point of where the water would be coming in.
So instead of doing that, we just kind of dumped it into the bathtub.
Yeah, but fortunately, St. Fred had us all set up with a sump pump and like hose attachments and stuff.
This is not the first time it's happened.
Yeah, this is not the first time that this happens. But last time we didn't catch it soon enough, and then the whole house, like the furnace wouldn't turn on, and so it was freezing because it was like January.
It was January, yeah. All the snow had like melted.
Was that this year? That was last year.
That was last year, yes.
This year was when the pipes broke.
Yeah, so yeah, we've been pumping water, and so we didn't get much sleep because halfway through the day I realized this isn't letting up.
So we had to stay on like weather. Shifts.
Well, I checked the weather, and it's supposed to have stopped raining an hour ago, which it had. This is Sunday, by the way.
Yeah, at the time of recording.
So it was like, okay. So we stayed up as long as we could, and then we're like, we would pump until, like, it'd get most of it out, and it would kind of...
Like, the pump would start making this, like,
because it wasn't getting enough water to pump out. So we're like, oh, okay, cool. So we'd have to turn it off.
For like an hour.
Come back and check, and...
The water would have risen up, so we'd turn it back on. Because the little pumpy, the float that turns the pump on and off, like... functions on a much higher level than what the water level was. So it's like I had to bungee cord that up to keep it on, but it was complicated.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
when
not
we went to
very much
bed
sleep
at
last night.
like 3.
And we had an alarm set for like a 3-hour shift.
Yeah. Vaughn went and checked on it, and then I went and checked on it. And then it went off again, and it was technically Vaughn's turn, but I rolled over and looked at her, and she was asleep, and I was
He's so sweet to me, you guys.
well, I'm awake. Might as well get up. So
Thank God, because I'd have been grumpy.
I had turned off the pump, because we were getting to the point, it's like, do we just not turn the pump on and risk losing the furnace and the water heater again? Or do we... Hey, Izzy. Or do we... leave the pump running.
Izzy.
Yeah. And end up
Sorry, slow.
and end up just burning out the motor on the pump.
We figured it's cheaper to replace a sump pump than it is the furnace and water heater, so we'd rather risk burning the pump out. But everything's fine. Everything's gonna be okay. We're just sitting here for everybody who just came in. We're waiting for the tow truck to come and get us and take us to... Honestly, we could probably push the van there, but we have roadside assistance through State Farm. I could highly recommend these people as far as car insurance places go. What's going on here? Okay, that's not a new text. Oh no, it slipped.
So yeah, even though it had stopped raining, whenever I had gotten up,
groundwater was still seeping in. It's actually seeping in up from below too, or is it bubbling down?
I don't know.
We have a mud cave hole for a basement that our whole house is built on top of and slowly sinking into.
It's a swamp. They came and built a house. It fell into the swamp.
It fell in and sank into the swamp.
So they built a second swamp.
And that one fell over, burned down, and then sank into the swamp. But this house is still standing for now.
So far.
Sorry, okay.
Not on the
Monty Python tangent aside. So this morning we're like, okay, it's not raining anymore. Let's go check on the van, make sure that nobody's vandalized it, that nobody's towed it or given us a tow truck. Yeah.
Booted it or given us a parking ticket, any of that stuff.
Yeah. And then the mechanic shop is closed, but we didn't want to leave it on this road again.
Yeah.
For
I was like, I would feel a lot better if we just towed it back home, and then we could figure it out from there tomorrow. And the lady at the phone thing was like, oh, I could just tow it to the mechanic shop. Yeah. And the one she had
their
mentioned,
customer service for their roadside assistance is so mega helpful. Every time we've ever had to deal with them,
yeah, it's
clean and efficient and nice. Because when in a crappy situation, at least that's not one more thing that's also crappy.
Right.
Yeah, oh gosh, we totally need gutters on our house. Hey, James. Does your horn work?
Yeah, no,
yeah, the windows roll up and down, the lights turn on and off.
It's not the battery.
It's not the battery. And we had a friend come and jump us on Friday anyhow, and that didn't help.
No.
But, then what happened? So now we're sitting here.
We are waiting for another...
What time is it? 12:40.
45 minutes?
Yeah, we've got 30 to 45 minutes. Hey, Tammy. Yeah, we're good. We're good. But we thought this would be a perfect opportunity to share with you guys all of our horror stories from the road, which have very fortunately been at a minimum.
Yeah.
Considering, water in the basement, dead van on the road. And the roof started leaking. We had all of our pots and pans and stuff all over on the floor, and it sounded like some kind of very poorly organized, industrial band with just bloop, 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 little.
Yeah, we're in our hometown.
Yeah, we're in our hometown. Fortunately, and this is what we were talking about, that we wanted to share with you guys. All of our on the road horror stories have been so convenient. Knock on wood, but it's first time. We were in Arkansas on the way to...
How about on the way to Texas?
On the way to Texas.
Oh, golly.
Because that wasn't a business trip, but we've had
very
few for as much as we've driven, probably over... How long? How many miles? Have you done 1,000,000 miles yet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've done 1,000,000 miles. If not,
Lots of miles.
If not, then very close to a
Lots
million.
of miles. I think we Googled it once and we've actually driven to the moon and back mile-wise. But it's like this first time we were on the road to Arkansas and we had made it into like central Arkansas where it's like very flat. And like we were just trucking along. We were listening to like NPR or something, and I was working on Viking Weave, and Randy was just driving. And then like out of nowhere,
it was literally out of nowhere. This guy.
You probably know who you are, person. If you are watching this,
I highly doubt that.
Yeah, but just in case,
person
like
in a red
you're a
truck.
jerk. Yeah, person in a red truck who cut us off in Arkansas like 1,000,000 years ago.
Anyone who's ever played Mario Kart and has had fun with the banana peel.
But like,
It's
if this was
kinda like
us
that.
and this was red truck, like there was no red truck, and then out of nowhere, red truck passing on the right, and we were going like 85, like we were going with the flow of traffic, and then
there was
red
no
truck.
traffic. There was.
Well, we were establishing the flow of traffic, and then here comes the red truck. Beep, 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 beep. And then, like, okay, so bird's eye view now. And so he's coming over, but his tail bed, this is very serious, Randy.
No, I'm just enjoying the story.
Didn't clear the front of our van enough. And
It was a
so,
car.
yeah, we were driving our car at the time. So, like, he didn't clear us all the way before passing us, which was ridiculous because it's not like there were a whole bunch of cars to be maneuvering around. Like, they were doing it just to be jerks, I think. But Randy seeing this happening.
I literally had one of those like split-second decisions where you like rabbit trail down 3 different ways. It was like,
He
well,
considered all the possible.
if I hit my brakes, he's gonna hit us. If I try to speed up, he's gonna hit us. If I hit the horn, he'll probably hit us. Out of like, oh goodness.
Fourth option.
I could go off-road.
Which, I mean, flat Arkansas, it's not like there was this, like, giant chasm of a median.
Yeah.
So he just kind of, and at this point, I look up and I'm like, what's going on, babe? Like, mid-stitch.
And this is the Mario Kart comes in.
And, yeah, so
I get
bird's eye
3
view
of the
again.
4
He
wheels.
goes off-road, truck comes over, he starts coming back on, like, truck's gone.
Truck is steadily pulling away. I get 3 of the 4 wheels onto the asphalt. The 4th wheel is on gravel. And I do this, like, spin out.
Like, if there had been any traffic behind us,
Oh, we'd be dead. Yeah.
we would have been a smear on the highway. Like, my mom and stepdad are both truck drivers, and it's like, I've seen the accidents that, like, if there had been a semi, we would have stood no chance, and our little compact car just, like, I mean, we could have had kids in the car. We don't have kids, but this person doesn't know us. We could have had a trunk full of babies. They don't know. And oh, those bastards. But yeah, and so, but we just kind of smushed into the tree line facing oncoming traffic on like the other side of the road. And so it's
Guys, adrenaline is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. And so, because we were just sitting there like,
and once we're stopped, I look over, I say, are you okay? She's like, yeah. And I just start wailing on
he punches the steering wheel, and that's like the only time he's ever hit anything out of anger ever. And I was like, no, don't do that, because I could just see the freaking airbag.
I deserve it. I mean, that's what would have happened.
Like, and somehow, like, the driver's side mirror was still there.
Yeah,
it was just lodged between 2 trees.
So,
it's
Vaughn gets out.
And he has me stand by the road and call emergency services.
Yeah, I'm like, somebody, just tried to run us off the road. You call the cops. I'm going to try and get the car out. And she's standing up by the side of the road. Very short grass. I'm in the thick of it. There's like brambles. I'm breaking branches that are like that thick that, like twigs. I was so mad.
He was hulking out on the forest.
And I literally cleared a section of the forest away from the car.
So that he could, because, I mean, the car was still starting just fine.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of smushed. Smoosh.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it almost made that noise.
It was one of those things where we'd just, like, paid for the car entirely. It was
completely
ours.
paid off.
It looked so great. And while we were going to Texas, I was going to show my mom.
It was to go see family. Be like, look it, we're adults. We have a car.
I did a thing.
That's all up now.
Yeah, it's just crushed.
Because didn't it, like, it bent, like, the hub over the wheel and, like, the headlight? Was that one messed up? That was from when somebody wrecked into us at the YMCA. That's a different story for y'all.
That's a different thing.
But no, and so it's just like, and the emergency services show up and everything was fine. The car insurance that we had at the time told us, not State Farm. What was it?
It doesn't matter.
I don't know. I don't remember. This is like a lifetime ago.
I know
but they were like,
but I won't
you'd
say.
have been better off if you let them hit you, because we couldn't get any insurance claim on it. And we were like, excuse me? We could have died, like, in a fire. What about all those babies in our trunk?
They could have been on fire.
They could have been on fire. But no, so everything was okay. But it's like, when does that happen? Oh, and apparently I was standing in poison ivy.
Yeah. So even though...
And got, like, covered in poison ivy.
I'm in the thick of it, like, just...
He was fine.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. Not a scratch. And I was covered, because, like, whenever we got to my sister's house, I had shaved my legs, because they make fun of me for being a hippie. And so, of course, that spread the poison ivy.
She's like, why stop at the legs?
It was like, well, I'm here, shaving everything, poison ivy.
Yeah.
So, that went pretty well. There was another time.
I think the Y was next.
Yeah, next was same car. We were at the YMCA. And it was, like, kind of icy because it was winter. And during the winter, whenever the pipes freeze, we go shower at the YMCA and, like, work out and stuff. And somebody just wrecked into our car. Somebody in a Jeep. Also, if you are watching this, person whose license plates we couldn't read from the security cameras because the YMCA had crappy cameras.
It was really funny in retrospect. We're parked.
Everything's funny in retrospect.
And here they come, like, we can see them pull into the parking lot, like, turn, and then they're going to park, but they hit ice and just smash right into our car. Like, go bonk, and then they're like, well, I'm done at the Y.
That's my workout for the day.
And leaves. And I was like, oh, well, okay. Jerks.
Yeah. But we didn't see this in person. We were watching on the security camera because we had worked out.
No,
we had
otherwise
gone
I'd
swimming.
Like, give me the license plate.
And so, but it was just the headlight and like the hood of the car.
Totally fine.
Yeah, we're good.
This is years ago.
We're talking about all of the different car crap that's happened to us over the years. But it's like, it could have been worse. Always it could have been worse. Oh, yeah. And then, same car going to Memphis 2 years ago.
Well, okay, back to the Y.
Oh, yeah. Gotta finish that story first.
When I took it to the mechanic, he was like, well, like,
it was gonna be like $700.
Yeah, the hood has just got like a slight pucker in it. They're like, well, to get that out, it's going to be $700. And I said, well, I'll just drive with a slightly puckered hood.
Like, the whole car, like, the entire vehicle was only like $2,000.
Yeah.
So, no, Harley, keep in mind that this is over 9 years worth of driving that these things have happened. No, but again, considering how many miles,
that car's got 2 more stories in it.
Yeah. 2 more.
2 more.
Well, we were in Memphis. Mm-hmm. It was before Memphis.
Are you talking about leaving Memphis, coming home, and Arkansas again?
That time. Okay. Thank you. I had forgotten that one. And this one, it was not called Christine. What did we name it? Sheila.
Sheila.
Her name was Sheila. Because we'd go, Sheila. And
I made you a muffin.
I made you a muffin. But, we were coming back from Memphis. And we were, like, on an on-ramp coming towards Marion, Arkansas. That's where we ended up laying over for the night. But the tire just popped.
The tire popped.
But it did this, like, like, it didn't, like, explode and we swerved and, like, oh, my God. And there wasn't traffic anywhere.
Along and boom, 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 boom. Okay.
So Randy just
pull over.
Chillax.
And we're coming back from a show. So
we got, like, wads of money hidden on our body.
On a side story, my brother was the one who introduced me to this car, and he was telling me about it, and I'm like, well, does it have a big trunk? Because, you know, we do shows. We need to carry all this stuff.
Like,
and
we
he
fit
looks
our
me
whole
dead in the
booth in that
face
car.
and says, dude, you can fit 3 bodies, 4 if you cut them up. And I was like, sold. I want this car. So here we are. back in Arkansas now. Driving, tire pops. Okay, I've got a spare. We'll just replace it. So we'll pull over side of the road, pull everything out of the trunk. I mean,
to get to the tire, because the
everything.
spare tire access was you had to like lift up the carpeted bottom and take that tire out. So we're there on the side of the road.
I mean, it kind of
pulling
looks
with
like
our booth everywhere.
it's hilarious because it's like a clown car. I mean, you just, when does it stop? We just keep pulling on it.
And there's more.
And after a person stops and just looks at us like, is all that your stuff? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I finally got to the tire, so I'm going to swap it out. And they're like, okay. They just leave.
And I have to say, this was the first time that in Randy and I's relationship we had had any car trouble where it was dark, it was about to rain, there was lightning on the horizon. Yeah. Always. And Randy didn't cuss, he didn't yell, he didn't, like, all of the... angry, like, rah, rah, rah. There was none of that.
There's no need for it.
And I was so relieved because, like, all I had to do was hold the flashlight and help him whenever he needed something, but he handled everything so smoothly. And, like, this was still earlier on in the relationship. Like, we were only together for, like, 5 years at that point. Or 7.
I don't know.
But I was like, I got a winner.
So we get it swapped out, get everything back into the trunk.
Back in the car. And we start going down the road again.
I get back on the road. 0.7 of a mile later, the spare goes flat because it
is 11 years old.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's hilarious to me.
At that point, I was mad because I'm like,
he was pretty
nothing
frustrated.
I can do about this.
So I dealt with calling the roadside assistance, and everything was okay.
Yeah.
Like, apparently, since we had had that insurance for a couple of years at that point, we had, like, accrued some tow mileage.
Yeah, they were like, well, at this point, we can tow you up to 40 miles free. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic.
And that was excellent because, like, 25 miles away was Marion, Arkansas, where they towed us. And there was a little tire shop right next to, like, a Best Western. We had a free night that we used for the Best Western.
They were going to take us to some auto body shop, and the tow truck guy's like, I don't think they do tires.
Yeah, he's like, that's a body shop.
He's like, what you guys need is like a Walmart. And I'm like, okay.
So he came back and re-towed us in the morning without any additional charge to the Walmart where we could get the tire replaced. And it's like, and that guy was really helpful.
He actually
recommended Town and Countries to us.
Yes. And so that's what we have right now. But
same car, a few years later.
Yeah, long story short, my dad ended up without a vehicle, and I was going to give him
the old car. Because we had just bought Broomhilda, our van.
Yeah.
And so we drove the van and the car to
all the
Memphis.
way to Memphis, which was a halfway point. We were doing a show in Memphis, and then we were going to drive an additional 6 hours to my dad's place.
To give him the car. Because, that's what family does.
Just before the trip to Memphis, something happened in the car. Like the rear upper arm ball joint
cracked. And so we got that replaced.
So the wheel literally like went out of line.
Like its foot fell off.
So we got that replaced. Got an oil change, all this other stuff. We put brand new tires on it. It was like $800 into this car.
Yeah, because we figured fix it up nice for him before he gets it. And
get all the way to Memphis. And the passenger side
ball joint.
Front ball joint.
So comes off, but
in the parking lot
of the hotel.
Convention.
The Hilton there in Memphis that looks like a big cylinder.
Yeah.
We were in that parking lot, which was where the convention was held, and its foot fell off, and it like ripped the axle out of the transmission.
The foot fell off.
Or so the guy
said. And I'm
said.
like, are you serious?
Because George and I were in the van behind Randy, who was driving the car. Hey, for everybody who just came in, we're sitting here in our hometown behind the studio where I teach hoop dance classes, and the van had broken down on our way back home on Friday. Everything's fine. We just figured this would be a great opportunity to talk to y'all about all of the horrific experiences we have had. It could have been worse in the past. Because it was going to be an hour and a half until the tow truck showed up, and we were like, Well, we don't
Yeah.
want to talk to each other.
Why would we do that? I see her all the time.
So, yeah. Oh. But, so, George and I were in the van behind Randy, who was driving the car.
If it had happened 60 seconds earlier, that would have happened when I was traveling 70 miles an hour on the interstate.
Yep. Like,
I would have
so
flipped
fortunate.
kind of stuff.
It would have been horrible. I don't even know what would have happened.
Yeah, no,
It would have been a catastrophic wreck. And so just the good fortune that it waited to die until it was in the parking lot of the convention.
3 miles an hour in the parking lot trying to find a parking spot.
And even then it went like it made this like, we were like, why'd Randy do that? And it was just
I get out and I'm like, are you serious?
and it's like, oh man.
So we're at that point, we're in Memphis, not our hometown. And I'm like, well, the only thing I can do is tow it to a place and try to get that worked out throughout the weekend while we're here
at the convention.
Luckily, we had the van with us, so I didn't have to like try to get a cab or anything. I was able to drive to the place we ended up dropping it off at. And that guy was like, well, what happened is your upper ball joint broke and that pulled your frame off the axle and that cracked your radiator. And I'm like, okay. How much is it going to cost?
Mary just asked if people are still waiting for us, and it's like, no, I did the class on Friday, and I walked home, but we came back today since it's not raining and flooded as badly anymore.
Yeah, just rewind it.
Long story, yeah. Everything's good though. No, I'd have left Randy in the van and been like, I'm gonna go teach my class.
You sit here, bye.
You sit here, bye. But no, it's just, and then he was gonna charge us a couple of $1,000.
Yeah, he
for
was
everything
like,
that needed done on that
to
car.
get it all road safe, it's gonna cost $4,000, and I'm like, that's more than I paid for the van or for the car to begin with.
So we scrapped it.
So I was like, sorry, Dad, you, not this one.
We scrapped it and gave him the $100 that we got for scrap, but it was just like there wasn't a whole lot else that we could do at the time.
So mad because I just dumped 800 in there, but that's what happens.
That's what happens, yeah. But and then
Broomhilda.
We haven't had a whole lot of trouble with this.
We've had a bit. Literally the 3 days after the warranty expired.
Yeah.
The air conditioner went on the fritz.
Yeah, but that's not really like a huge problem.
I mean, we can deal with that. Then we were in a show in St. Louis 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah. It
was Archon, because we
2
had just
years
gotten the grid walls for our booth. That's why we bought this van, was so that this spot down here, right here, is usually where our grid walls go. Let me prop that back up. And we needed a vehicle that we could fit all of that into.
So we're there.
We had just loaded up the grid walls, and the van would not start in the parking lot of the store supply warehouse.
Yeah, where we bought the grid walls. And we waited and waited. It was like 3 hours for a tow truck, and the tow truck guy showed up, and he's like, "Well, why don't you try and start it?" And it started up.
And the tow truck guy looked at us like,
and I'm like,
it didn't start for the past hour, I promise you.
And he's like, well, do you still want me to tow you? I'm like, yeah, might as well. And he's like, are you sure? I turned it off, tried to start it up, and it wouldn't start up. And I said, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll need a tow.
So he took us out to the hotel. From there, I was able to get stuff worked out while Vaughn stayed at the booth pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And we were so fortunate. It's Brass and Steam Productions.
I think so.
I know. Ben and Christine, if you guys ever watch this, you guys saved our asses that weekend.
So
they're other vendors, and we don't see them on the road as much as what we used to, and we never saw them as much as we would have liked. Yeah. But it's like, I contacted him on Facebook and was like, hey, can you help us?
He was like, and absolutely.
They got their van empty. And it's like, they came and they helped us bring our entire booth to the convention so we could set up. And that was like the best thing ever.
It was super amazing. But turns out what was wrong with the van was the fuel pump had gone out.
Mm-hmm.
And
really?
Yeah.
Somebody just said it sounds like one of you needs to take mechanic school. And It's like, Yep. I would love to have that skill set.
So, got the fuel pump replaced. It's Sunday. We're getting ready to... It's Monday. We stayed over.
We stayed over. We booked an extra night at the hotel, fortunately.
And, yeah. And we're like, well, do we get... And I was like, I'm hungry. Let's get food before we leave. So we stop off at like a St. Louis bread company, for those who don't know.
It's
the same
Panera
thing.
Bread everywhere else, but in St. Louis, where it originated, it's St. Louis Bread Co. And it's delicious. Like,
Yeah.
I love bread.
And we come out, and I'm like, I smell gas. Do you smell gas?
Uh-huh.
And she's like, yeah, I kind of smell gas. It's like, that's weird. So we go and check out of our hotel room, and I come back out, and I'm like, I really smell gas. And we move the van, and there's a big old puddle, and I'm like...
So we take it
Nope.
back to the same mechanic that we had just had it at, and they look at it, and it's like one of the hoses wasn't attached properly or something.
Like an O-ring thing that slipped when they were putting it on.
Right. And so they redid it. Yeah, bread is life. Amen.
Yeah. And fixed it free of charge because they're like, we should have fixed it
We just put
right.
it in. We should have done it right the first time. And so that was really nice.
That was super awesome.
But it was just... So again, though...
Then, shortly after that, the fuel gauge on the inside...
stopped reading. So now we get to travel hundreds of miles at a time and play, like... Is it
Play
really out
roulette.
of gas or is it just yelling at us again? So we keep pretty close track of our mileage to be able to tell... exactly, like...
Yeah.
You know, because we know it's like, oh, it's been 20 minutes. We're not out of gas.
Here's the thing. I'm cursed to an extent because every vehicle I've ever had only brakes whenever it's got a full tank of gas.
Yeah, that's
Every
fair.
time.
That's pretty accurate.
We had just filled up on Thursday. And literally driven home. And
Yeah.
then the next day, Vaughn's like, I gotta go to class. Drove here.
And normally, like, I just either walk or ride my bike to the yoga classes, but it's like for hooping, I'm bringing a stack of hoops, and I haven't figured out a way to keep that
Large amount of
on
hoops.
the bike. So, without like dying.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and it could be pretty simple, but it's
So, yeah.
So we're still sitting here waiting on the
On the tow truck.
tow
yeah.
truck.
He,
But yeah,
he might be here in 15 minutes.
that'd be so cool.
That's if he's on time.
That's if he's on time.
If he's
But
on time.
it's just and honestly, for 9 years of doing 2 to 3 conventions a month, that's not too bad for all the car trouble that we've had.
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's it.
That's not bad at all.
Considering how much we drive, it's... Everything's fine.
And hey, Mary, I did see the pictures that you posted. Those are fantastic. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions or anything? Yeah, really.
Yeah.
The statement, Harley says we need to start a business towing, and it's like, yeah, probably. But I like getting to travel as much as we do. Like, I really love what we get to do for a living.
I don't know if you could pay me enough to tow someone, because
really?
typically
I
people
don't
are in
like
bad
dealing with
moods.
stressed out people.
Yeah.
Like, typically people aren't like yelling at me when they're buying jewelry from us.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. But most of the time, not. But like just stressful situations, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, Yvonne from Germany. So, yeah. So today we decided to just go on a walk to see the van.
Yeah, make sure it
And
was
then we're
still
like-
here after the floods.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure we didn't have any parking tickets or a boot on it, or that it hadn't been towed. Because, I mean, there's no sign saying
Or
no overnight
swept
parking.
away.
Or swept away in the flooding. Yeah, that'd have been... Now, that was something whenever we first got into this... I'll answer your question in just a sec, Zoe. MTAC. It was the year that Nashville flooded. Almost everybody lost their vehicle that year. Because those folks up from
yeah.
Florida, they lost their bus and 4 personal vehicles. Because, like, it was... All of it was underwater. Now the question was, what is the best kind of vehicle to get? And I'm going to say one that you can afford,
Yeah.
one that fits all of your stuff in it, and one that you're comfortable driving. We chose a Chrysler Town & Country because easily 200,000 miles on most of them. They're what we see a lot of other people driving who are vendors. Those and Dodge Caravans, which is basically the same model, just different branding.
The really cool thing about this particular vehicle, the Town and Country, is the seats in the back come completely out.
Well, any model before a 2003, the seats come completely out. After 2003, they made it pretty standard that all of them fold into the bottom.
And it's nice if you get to the show, you've unloaded, and you've got friends that you want to take out.
But it makes you ride much lower, and whenever we're loaded to bear, we really don't want that. I've got to go, guys. Somebody from Arizona
I don't know.
is calling us. I don't think that's the tow truck.
I don't know.
Should I answer it?
Yeah, you should.
Okay, bye, everybody.